Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I am Sankalp. I take care of business development at PMS AIF World, and we are an alternates focused, wealth manager, and we have been doing this series for Invest Sense. And on this series and this platform, we bring to you a lot of intuitive fund managers. And today is very special as we have Mr. Arun Malhotra of Capro Capital. He's going to talk about his special situations investing strategy. Let me tell you a bit about Mr. Malhotra. He has been in the market for 25 years, and close to 25 years, he has managed a distressed situation fund for 8 years, co-managed for 8 years, which at the peak was managing close to 300 million US dollars, which is a big feat, and has surpassed or beaten the benchmark for it on a multiple occasions. So, why special situations? So I googled special situations Arunji, and I the first thing that I got was Warren Buffett's legendary Bank of America and kind of investment where he made billions of dollars when supposedly Bank of America was going through some credibility distress issue. So that is the power of a situation or an opportunity which comes once in a time. The payoff is huge, and at markets being all time high, a lot of our clients, a lot of our investor friends, families ask us, "Ki kya kare?" So special situations is one such thing. We'll understand it today on the call from one of the practitioners. We'll try to ask questions to Mr. Arun, and we'll keep him on his toes. Before I begin, Arunji, I just did a quick poll. Okay, I asked, I am interested to invest in special situation strategy. 47% of the audience today, or the respondents said, will decide after today's call. So you have quite a task at hand. Okay, 35% said yes, so they're already somewhere aware. So over to you, Arunji, and please, tell us about the strategy and what you do a little bit more. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to everybody, and thanks for coming to the webinar, especially on a Friday evening. In the next 1 hour or so, I will be taking you through what special situation is, what we do at CapGrow to exploit the special situation strategies that exist in the market, how this strategy is sustainable, and how we can create wealth with this strategy. Let me first define. Can we start with the presentation?
Sure. Start kariye na.
Can you go to the slide number 1, Sankar? So basically, let me start. Till the time you go to the number 1 slide, let me explain what is special situations. Special situation investing is an investment approach where the occurrence or non-occurrence of an event. So there is a corporate event that has been announced by the company. The occurrence or non-occurrence of that event will determine the returns for the investors. And as the corporate event has already been announced, so the returns are predictable in this strategy. There is an embedded value that already exists in the company. I will give you certain examples that will get unwinded. So that value will get unlocked with this corporate event. Some of the examples that become or that are part of special situation are spin-offs. The reverse of spin-off is mergers and demergers. Then there are tender offers. We have seen buybacks. We have seen delistings. A lot of MNCs try to delist their Indian counterparts. Then there are bankruptcies and distress situations. I think we played it very well when I used to run the hedge fund in 2008, when the market was distressed. And then there are some capital structure dislocations. So, and we call it statistical imperfections. A lot of times what happens is that, I would give you an example. There was a situation when the market cap of the company was less than the cash on the balance sheet. This is what we call it statistical imperfections. So, so this commencement of a journey we started in 2018. I think that's okay. What CapGrow stands for, I'm just taking in, just interrupting my flow and trying to, reflect on what CapGrow stands for. CapGrow stands for credibility, accessibility. Credibility is we all believe in the philosophy of HIT: honesty, integrity, and transparency. Accessibility, we are always available for our customers 24/7. We are always available for customers to answer any questions. P for protection, our clients' money, we ensure that full protection is provided in terms of we have tied up with Kotak Mahindra and all fund accounting and custodial activities are taken care of by Kotak Mahindra Bank. G for growth, we all are here for growth of our wealth, growth of assets over the next few years. Reliability, our back office, our research processes, our internal systems ensure that our processes are very reliable and they ensure high degree of client satisfaction. Ownership, this gives, CapGrow gives, I would say this CapGrow platform gives an opportunity to the investors to own some of the great businesses, to participate in some of the special situations that exist in the market. And I would explain, in the following slides, why special situation is something unique. And lastly, the wealth, long-term wealth creation for our clients is our single motto. This is my background. I think Sankam already, covered this. So, just a peek, I have more than 28 years of experience, managed a hedge fund, managed a special situation hedge fund. I've also worked in the US for a couple of years on the buy side. In terms of CAD, did my MBA from FMS Delhi, as well as another MBA from one of the top business schools in finance in the US, Simon Business School, University of Rochester. At CapGrow, we run two strategies. One is growth, the other is special situation. This presentation, I would be more focusing on the special situation strategy. But growth strategy is, I think, most of the people on the street, most of the mutual funds run this strategy. Long equity, exceptionally high quality businesses, high quality balance sheets, value-oriented businesses, but we avoid cyclicals. So basically, growth strategies comforters, the likes of SDFC Bank, the likes of Infosys, where there will not be any negative surprises. And the next is the special situation strategy, and that's the focus of our discussion today. As I explained briefly earlier, this is basically trying to exploit the statistical imperfections in the market. There are corporate events that have been announced. So the occurrence and non-occurrence, the happening or non-happening of that event will determine our returns. As I gave you some of the examples, it basically combines, I would say, two things. One is the Buffettology. That means there is a value in the business or in the asset, and a corporate action, which is the trigger, which is Hello. Hello, am I connected back? Hello.
You have to switch on your camera.
Yeah, sorry. We just got disconnected because of the internet.
Please continue.
Yeah, sorry. So where I was there, we are basically focusing on the corporate actions and event. And let me remind you, this is a one-time event in the history of the company. Before the event, everything looks hazy. Even during the event, everything looks hazy. And that's where our skill comes into the picture. We understand the event. We understand the behavior of the promoter, the company. Basically, the behavioral aspect also comes in between. The best part is that most of the fund managers, for them, once a corporate action happens, their story ends, while the opportunity begins for us once the corporate event is announced. Then that's the time when we enter into the market. Before that, whether this will happen, there is a rumor, there is a speculation, we will not. Until there is a certainty of the event happening, that the management has announced the event, we will not initiate the position. So this is a very key component, and I would explain how, in further slides, how this helps us. So big alpha, why should we? This is a very common question. Why should we invest in this kind of a strategy? So we want to show that how alpha can be generated. So for the last 1 year, 6 months, 3 months, 1 month, the alpha has been generated in this strategy, and we are very confident that this strategy is very sustainable. It's not 1 year, 2 year, 5 year. It's my last 25 years where we have seen that this strategy generates big alpha. Why special situations generate a big alpha? Basically, most of the time what happens is the current market value masks or hides the true value of the assets, and the current market cap is available at a significant discount to the realizable value. For realization of that value, for that value unlocking to happen, that embedded value, how it should get unwinded, there comes in corporate event, demerger, some capital allocation, some reverse merger, some spin-offs. These events help create value in these situations. So sum of parts basically could be more than the current market cap. So sometimes company would, separate one of the segment, list it separately. Yeah, so I would give you an example. This is a tender offer. I think a lot of people would know, delisting of a large cap IT stock. This happened somewhere around July, August of 2020. Fundamentally a great company. There was a private equity on the board, very superior financial metrics, both on margins and capital efficiency front. And the management, looking at the distressed valuations during the pandemic times, tried to delist the company. We looked at the management behavior in the past, and the valuations, the comparables, and what the plan of the management was. The last deal in the same script had happened at 448 per shares. The company's offer price was 265, but we were very confident that the deal would happen north of 450 rupees. We were proven right. I think our entry price, once it was announced, the stock was at 300, 315. But ultimately, finally, in 2.5 months' time, it got delisted at 475 rupees per share. So in some, in some situations, we look at, the situational parts, the opportunistic nature of that situation. Whether does this company, this event gives us an opportunity to realize our returns in the next few months. It could be 2 months, it could be 12 months. It all is a function of what the event is, what the timeline is. These normally corporate events, these special situations, there are a lot of opportunity during the periods of economic strength. When like currently, when the economy is expanding, there is a lot of corporate activity going on. I would give you an example. There is a newspaper company that has come out with a buyback offer. There is a metal company, because of higher profits, have come out with a not delisting, a buyback offer again, which is at a significant premium to the market price. There was an M&A, even though it was for a private company, but I just want to highlight how the corporate activity is much higher in these times of economic strength. Yesterday, Wipro did a $1.2 billion acquisition. So there are a lot of opportunities that are available during these times. Another example which I want to give is, I think this is, anybody can guess, this is IDFC Limited. We attended the conference call of this in March 2020. This is the parent company of IDFC First Bank. It's just an example, not a recommendation. Let me be very clear. We may or we may not hold a normal disclaimer in our clients' portfolios. But I'm just trying to illustrate an example or what special situations are. So there was IDFC Limited, IDFC First Bank. IDFC Limited held 40% of IDFC First Bank. So for every share of IDFC Limited, you would have got 1.4 shares of IDFC First Bank in March 2020. IDFC Limited was 18 rupees, IDFC First Bank was 28 rupees, so 28 into 1.4 gives you somewhere around 37, 38 rupees, and IDFC Limited was 18 rupees. Plus there is a mutual fund business also in Limited, in IDFC Limited. And this value unwinding was a function of the regulation which RBI was working on. There was already a working paper available where RBI was contemplating basically collapsing the holding company structure. So that's one. So if it collapses, IDFC Limited and IDFC First Bank would have got merged. Second, or it allows IDFC Limited to reduce its stake from 40% to 15%. That would have again created value. So, and it was at a discount instead of a premium to the IDFC First Bank, because for every one share of IDFC Limited, you would have got 1.4 shares of IDFC First Bank. If this situation would have happened in the US, I would have probably bought IDFC Limited and shorted IDFC First Bank. But in India, shorting is little difficult, and it is not in our DNA. So it was just a pure long position in IDFC Limited that helped us. Again, a disclaimer: it may or may not exist in the client's portfolios, and it is not a recommendation. I would give another example before we move to next slide. Of distress situations. We look at situational distress, not economic distress. A lot of times there are situational distress because of, either we invested in sugar sector maybe 2 years down the line, I think 2 years back. And trust me, the worst stock in that sector gave 3.5 times returns in 18 months, while the best stock gave 10 times returns. And same with telecom. When we bought telecom stocks, I think they were in distress. Out of 15, 16 players, the number of players were getting reduced. There was a big hangover. Jio had reduced the pricing to unsustainable levels, and bankruptcies were happening for telecom companies. And a lot of M&A activity was happening. So these are some of the situations, as I call it, situational distress, which we look for and try to find opportunities. I think what is CapGrow's differentiated approach? Let me tell you, this special situation is very, misunderstood and unfollowed in the market. It's not. It looks as if it's a very simple approach, but not easy. I think I gave you 2 good examples, but there is one more example which of a dairy company where they have sold one division for a value which is much higher than the market cap, but there are few issues regarding the availability of cash post the transaction, and hence the cash has not been distributed to the investors, to the shareholders, and I think litigation is going on. So as I mentioned, we try to combine Buffettology, the value-oriented approach, plus the corporate action, and try to find opportunities. Now, what is our differentiated approach? Most of even we have a growth strategy, which we call it plain vanilla growth strategy. where there will be a lot of common stocks among most of the portfolios. If I own few mutual funds, if I own few PMSs, everybody would have Infosys, HDFC Bank, or maybe a couple of good names. And all of them, mostly Hindustan Lever, they are available at exorbitant valuations. And as I call it, scarcity premium. Everybody is trying to chase those few ones. That's where our differentiated approach comes. We try to keep a track of the events and delistings or deals which are happening in the market, and we combine that with our fundamental analysis. Post the analysis, if it is investment worthy, we take concentrated bet. And I want to reiterate that every investment, special situation, growth, even though there is a corporate action, it is backed by solid fundamental reasoning, robust thought process, and our desire and effort to generate supernormal returns for our investors. This is a very flexible and opportunistic approach. Why I call it opportunistic? Because we don't know when the corporate action will be announced. Once it is announced, then the opportunity starts for us. Why we are good at it? I think I must try to mention here that this is a very unstructured kind of a situation, because it's the corporate event itself is unstructured. There are legal documents involved, there are NCLTs involved. This industry is still at a very nascent stage because this special situation is not followed by everybody. When a deal is announced, then only we get active, while a lot of fundamental guides would exit the company. And these kind of corporate situations, events, are underfollowed in the market. You would have rarely seen a research report on these kind of special situations. Again, does it create alpha? As I think I mentioned in the previous slide, the same slide is being shown again, that alpha is being created by us in the last 2 years where we have been there. Again, this is monthly performance in the last 18 months, I would say, more so. We have been rated top PMS in this strategy in 4 out of these 18 months. I would also like to mention here why, I have talked about only the performance, the returns, not about the risks. I think risks are a part of investing. We strongly believe, in fact, that this is a low risk and high reward strategy. I would, separate this into two. Low risk. Why we feel it's a low risk strategy? Because the event has been announced. It's a known event for us. So there is no risk. There is no uncertainty. The risk is reduced, and the only risk that exists is because of the timeline. The timeline may get extended, but that action has to happen. So instead of 8 months, it may happen 15 months because of delay on the court's part, on the NCLT part. So the only risk is the timeline. Then this strategy takes its own time to play out. Once the action is announced, the stock will go up, and after that it will become subdued, primarily because it could be months, if not days, before anything happens on the price front, before the needle moves, because there will be board approval, there will be shareholder approval, there will be NCLT approval, and they take months. And large part of the investors are focused on the short term. So they would probably be inactive during those periods of time in that stock. And that's where the opportunity arises for us. And the markets are quite volatile. We have always maintained that at CapGrow as a house. Volatility is the best friend for us. So a volatility, if we have analyzed our situation, on a bad day, we would get the stock, which will combine our Buffettology, our value-oriented approach, plus the corporate action approach, plus the trigger, plus the catalyst, and to realize our returns. it does require a lot of patience, sometimes 8 months, 12 months. So, nothing will happen. So the portfolio will not move. Some of the investors have come back to us saying nothing is moving, market is moving up. But that's part and parcel of the strategy. So, once we are getting into this strategy, the patience is the key thing. And the ability to sit on your money, as long as the event is happening. If there is a risk to the event, then we would exit. We would not exit because of the timeline, because once we enter, we understand that the timeline is a risk which we are willing to take. I think next, one other question that comes to the mind is, why should I do special situation investing? Why not only growth, or why only not plain vanilla equity? I think my submission to all the potential investors, all the people here on this webinar is, here, because the event has been announced, we can estimate the returns well in advance. That means, let's say if I am at price X, I know my takeout value would be 1.4x. Only the timeline is not sure. So even before investing, I can estimate my probable returns. Unlike equity investing, where there could be growth, could be come down, there could be some issue on the balance sheet, there could be some issue on the receivable, currency might go in the other direction. There are a lot of factors, multiple factors that impact your equities. But special situation, it's only the event that will impact us. And as a corollary, if I take this forward, the investment results, the performance is actually maybe partially or fully immune from the market in the long run. In the short run, yes, it can get impacted. Let's say if there is some big corporate, maybe like pandemic, then in the short run, the stock will get impacted. But since there is a corporate action, there is an event that has to happen, the results are partially or fully immune from the market. So what we are trying to take out is the market risk from the stock. So we are taking market risk out of the stock. That's our endeavor, that's our effort through this strategy. I hope I was clear. So I will just move on. I think I already covered this. So I think this is some of the highlights which we have been covered in the last 24 months. Special situations helped us. In 1 month we were 20% up because 3 of our positions, both the timeline, the timelines for 3 positions coincided in 1 single month. So yeah. So again, making money for 24 top 5 CM, we were covered by leading newspaper, Business Standard and Economic Times. Top 10 best performing PMS schemes of November. Again, we were there. And lastly, are these returns sustainable? Is this a sustainable strategy? Is this a scalable strategy? The answer is yes. As I said, these times of economic expansion, economic strength, market will continue to offer opportunities, and we will see bigger either M&As, bigger companies coming and buying smaller companies, horizontal, vertical mergers, spin-offs, delisting by MNCs, private equity taking out companies. So these events, these situations, as I mentioned, all will always be at CapGrow, backed by our fundamental research and our ability and strong inclination and belief to generate supernormal returns for our investors. We would always look for a trigger or a catalyst for us that will basically expedite our return expectations. So we feel, and as I said, this strategy in the long run, in the medium to long run, is immune from the market risk. This is again comes to, as Sankalp said, 47% of the investors on this webinar are still not decided whether they should allocate some money for these or not. I think every investor should have allocated some portion to these special situation strategies. Why? Because that gives them the diversification. Number two, that takes out the market risk of these, market risk out of these investments, as I explained earlier. Third, it creates big alpha. It creates alpha in the long run, medium to long run. And it is not in India. India, it is still at a very nascent stage. But in the US, trust me, this is 1/3 of the industry now is special situation and alternative investments. Again, why CapGrow? We have been ranked among the top performance for the month of January, June, and November. Again, why CapGrow? I think I have been doing this since 2005-06. I have done convertible arbitrage when used to be convertible bonds. I have done special situation M&As, spin-offs, even delistings, and that experience, gives me the strength to mention that this is a sustainable and where we can generate big alpha for our clients. We would strongly urge investors to diversify and take advantage of this strategy. My interests are aligned with this strategy. I have also put significant capital in both the strategies so that mine and investors' interests are aligned. Do not fear equities. This is our famous, statement we always keep saying. Thank you. We really, I think that's the end of my presentation. I thank each and every investor, every person here on the board for sparing time on a Friday evening, especially our esteemed investors who are there on the call, without whom we would not have reached here. And once again, thank you everybody.
Right. Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Arun. So I have got a lot of questions for you. In fact, I was going to say a few questions, but we've got a lot of questions. And the first question that we will begin with is a personal question. So, having heard you for the last half an hour or so, one question that comes to my mind, which I want you to take quickly, because I'll have other questions to ask as well. To you, special situations is a philosophy or a technicality? Because it somewhere combines, you said Buffettology, a bit of market timing, and you also said you play events that have already come out in the open. So, in your mind or in your investment, latitude, this is a philosophy or a technicality?
I answered that partially, Sankalp. I said it value-oriented approach, the Buffettology investment philosophy, combined with the event.
Okay.
So the both has to be. If I just take the event on a standalone basis, I will not invest because my fundamental analysis has to back that company. And I gave you the example of the dairy company.
Right.
We don't want to land in such a situation where just the corporate event happens and we are really in a soup. We are losing our capital.
Right. Thank you for repeating that again. So I'll just take a question from the audience now. Okay, so Manik Ananda asks a very pertinent question. Special situations may happen, fewer times a year. Okay, and in the meanwhile, okay, what is your investment portfolio like? Do you stay invested, or you wait on the sidelines for opportunity? How do you position that tactically?
I think that's a very good question. I'm sorry I didn't answer this. These opportunities do exist in the market across the year. But I agree, there are times when we are sitting on 10, 15, 20% cash in a portfolio. We will not invest. We will not come under pressure just because we are sitting on cash and we will go and invest somewhere else. We will not do that. I think 3, 4, 5% return on a debt is fine with us until we find our opportunity that fits our criteria.
Right. So you are happy sitting on the side and waiting for opportunities.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, we are watchers.
So at this point in time, if I had to ask you, without divulging too many details, what are you doing? Are you sitting on the sidelines? Are you waiting for opportunities, or are you invested in opportunities that are about to play out?
I think if you ask me, maybe there might be some cash, 15% in the portfolios, but that is primarily because we recently sold few things. Some of the things which we just entered 2 weeks back, I would again not name the company. It's a conglomerate, it's a large cap where there's a demerger, the company has announced, it's into the banking and NBFC space. The other is again a very decent sector where a private equity has taken a stake, and the management is of exceptional quality, and the management has committed to demerge into two in the next two. And we feel both the engines are running at a very high speed. In 18 months, the fundamental approach, the value-oriented approach, whereby we have checked on the fundamentals, the value of the company, and the corporate action which is going to happen in 18 months, will give us decent returns in the next few years.
Right. Thank you for sharing
that.
So
there are a lot of opportunities available. I think capital is scarce for us, not the opportunities.
Right. There are always opportunities in the market, like they say. Yes. So I have got another interesting question for you. Mr. Vivek asks this. I'll just modify the question a bit. He's asked about concentration, but I'll modify it to risk management. Since see, when an event happens, fortunate, unfortunate, let's say something that had happened in the past, like Satyam, we did not know what would happen then. There's a chance that things could go wrong. Okay. And when they go wrong, they could go way off the mark. So what is your risk management strategy for this kind of a portfolio, wherein essentially you are looking at companies that have had some kind of corporate action or some kind of happenings in the recent past? So how do you tackle risk then?
Okay, since you mentioned Satyam, I would also, in a Satyam-like situation, I would put it Satyam-like situation. We would enter once we get the clarity on the new management.
Okay.
Till then, we will not. We will not apply our mind कि Satyam की value इतना होगा, balance sheet में इतना होगा, because we don't know how big is the hole. We will not enter till then. And once Tech Mahindra entered, the big daddy entered, then we will look for as an opportunity. We buy or we may not buy. I'm not saying that. But for us, again I'm repeating, once the corporate action happens, the big hole finding of, or that is not a corporate action for us. That's a finding of a fraud. Second, in terms of, you ask about the risk management. Yes, we have our internal risk management where we, in terms of concentration of portfolio, we don't try to go beyond 15%. Normal is the 10%. If we have to go from 10 to 15%, that would be a very extreme situation where we know the probability of event happening in the next few months is close to 99.999%.
Right.
There has been only one instance where, with the consent of the client, we have gone to 15%. Rather, the client, once he understood the situation, himself topped up his PMS and said, I want to take a bigger position in this. I said, so he was very fair to us. Since we explained him the situation, he gave us the top-up check. So in that situation, we have gone up to 15%, but normally we try to restrict up to 10%.
Right. So since you mentioned the life cycle of the situation playing out, I'll just take some time of audience question and ask a question which I think is which a lot of viewers will find interesting also. Is Lakshmipati Mittal, okay, he is known for buying for doing what you do on a much grander scale. He buys steel plants across the world, at distress value, and then turns them around.
Yeah.
So the reason that I mention this is he enters at the first wink of trouble. Okay.
Yes.
He would probably enter when the trouble starts to appear or the crack starts to appear. But a lot of times, I'm guessing he wouldn't do that. Okay. And now the first NCLT case that closed, the Bhushan Steel incident, it took almost 2.5 years, 3 years to probably wind up, and actually new investors come in. So in India, these laws are very nascent. A lot of these situations that have played out in the West, and people are okay with it, like leveraged buyouts. I don't think any leverage buyout we have heard any leverage buyout in India for a very long time, or probably not heard. So how do you determine in which life cycle of the situation or the event playing out is an optimum for you?
I think, again, going back to what I said, just if the stock price declines, we are not interested. If because of distress, we are looking for situational distress. If the steel cycle is coming down, stock prices are coming down, or price wise it looks cheap, we will not buy it. For us, the distress definition is that 80% of the capacity has to go out of the system or has to make losses. They have to default to the banks.
Right.
These are some of the signals that we look at distress. Simply price coming down, 100 rupees tha, 10 rupees aa gaya, distress aa gaya. For us, price में distress नहीं चाहिए हमें value में, situation में distress चाहिए. And then we should have a roadmap of triggers that will happen with the company that will help us realize value.
Right.
It could be regulatory change also. It has happened in sugar. It has happened in steel. So a lot of times regulatory changes also provide you the future triggers for a company. And then you go and scout for kaun si company distress mein hai. Then you apply your fundamental approach. Out of the 5 companies in that sector, which company has the best management, the best balance sheet to come over the crisis with this regulation?
Right. Okay. So we'll take that. That's actually a very good approach to, probably decide which life cycle stage to get in.
Yeah.
So just a follow-up question to that. When do you get out? When do you know that the story is played out? The maximum has been generated.
As I said, when we have an event defined, once the event happens, we will exit the company. So there have been times when we bought for an event, the event happened, we exited, and the stock actually doubled even after that. But in this strategy, we will try to avoid a fundamental call because we are taking the market risk out, and the stock actually doubled because the market went up.
Right.
So we are trying to take the market risk out, and once the event happens, the event concludes, we will critically evaluate that. What is the special situation? What is the corporate event? What is the trigger now? Fundamental call lena, Sankalp ji, lot of times companies would come bring down their guidance, would bring down their margin guidance, would they say something else is competitive intensity बढ़ गया है, या कभी macro खराब हो गया है, कभी forex खराब हो गया है. वो पूरा सारा call लेना is a very difficult situation. So हम उस मार्केट रिस्क को निकालना चाह रहे हैं, वो मार्केट रिस्क को बाहर निकालना चाह रहे हैं. स्टॉक स्पेसिफिक रिस्क को हम नहीं निकाल सकते.
Right, got it. That's a very fair point. So you stay in the company investors as long as your demarcated event is not played out, or as long as it is in the process of playing out.
Yes.
So that's actually a very, very good answer to my question, and I think a lot of investors have also asked this on the chat board. So before we move on to the next question, a lot of people are asking this also on the chat board. What do you do in a bull run? Because so what we have seen over the last at least 3-4 months is that it's a secular bull run. Small mid caps have been waiting for the longest time. Now they have also started participating in the bull run. What happens to your strategy in a bull run? Okay, because everybody in the market goes out and you see the top frontline stocks just going crazy, in terms of prices. And at the end of the day, when investors come to the stock market, it is they are price sensitive, they are return sensitive. So what happens in a situation like this?
I will start first with the statistic and then explain you the reasoning behind it.
Right, sure.
The statistic in the last 1 year, if we take the mutual funds, some of the maybe the similar mutual funds or the PMSs, we would be among the top 5. The special situation strategy, not in growth. I'm being very categorical. Growth would be more or less similar to others because there's no differentiation there. Special situation, even in the last 1 year, when the bull run really when the momentum has started, the velocity, the momentum has started, we have outperformed, and by a significant margin. So the data suggests that even in bull markets, these strategies do outperform. Second is why they outperform, because couple of things. Even the managements now want to expedite their conclusion of the corporate actions. There is so much business activity, as I said, that there are now a lot of opportunities for us to exploit. Everybody is now trying, every management is now focused on how to create value. And in creating value, either there is some capital structure changes, either there is spin-off or M&A. They are going raring for that. And that's what gives us the opportunity in these times.
Right.
So the best part is that by even taking out the market risk, I am able to perform better than the benchmark or other benchmarks or other schemes.
Right. So, like, my next question is going to be on the similar lines for you. When we say in a structural bull run, what happens to your strategy? You mentioned that you try to take out the market risk. So you are trying to somewhere say that you're market agnostic. Okay.
Yes. In the medium to long run, yes.
Okay. So in the medium to long run, when you say you're market agnostic, okay, how let's just put this question in a way that serves the investor's purpose. Then what is in it for an investor who is essentially trying to also gain from the market, rallying or the market being buoyant, okay, and what according to you is a apt allocation in a special situation kind of a strategy? Let's say if someone had 100 rupees to allocate to equities, because a lot of people have asked this.
Two things, Sankalji. One is we are always talking of kal market kya hogi, ek mahina market kaise rahegi. By investing in this strategy, these questions become irrelevant. The market movement is not relevant to me for next, maybe for medium to longer term. हाँ, कल अगर स्टॉक मार्केट गिरेगा 10%, 8% इंडेक्स गिरेगा, तो that those stocks will also get impacted. But if you stay for 3 months, 6 months, till that conclusion of that event, then this question becomes irrelevant. कि market कहाँ जाएगी या market क्या जाएगी. Second part of your question was how much should be allocated. I think this is a very well diversification strategy for every individual who owns either a mutual fund or a couple of PMSs or direct equities. Because here, see, for rest of the portfolio, let's say if we invest 30% of our portfolio in this PMS strategy, special situation, then 70% of your portfolio carries the market risk as well as the stock specific risk. Here, the risk in the special situation strategy, I am carrying the risk of the timeline. The timeline may get extended. So in some of the situations, okay, I give you an example. We entered a situation around 15 months back where our return expectation was 45% in 4 months. X, 1.4x, 5x was clearly defined because of the pandemic.
Arunji, we have lost you again. Hello. Ladies and gentlemen, so sorry for the disturbance. There's some problem with Mr. Arun's internet. We'll just get him back once again. Just a second.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry, a bad internet, today. It never happens. Can you hear me? No, I can't hear you.
I was on mute, sorry. So, okay. I was saying Murphy's Law, whatever can go wrong will go wrong probably.
I never had these outages. I never had these outages in the last 2 years, but that's how it happens. But anyway, So where I was, I was trying to say that it gives you a diversification strategy as part of your portfolio. If you own some direct equities, mutual funds, that's what happens. This 30% of the portfolio will not carry the market risk.
Right. So a lot of people are writing on the chat board, this is a special situation, your internet is malfunctioning today. So thank you, Sajjan ji, for that. So let's say that IT, pharma, probably the Silicon Valleys of the world, the Palo Altos of the world are very, 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 there's a lot of happenings in this kind of industry. Okay.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of distress in the hardcore manufacturing industry. So, so I see a lot of sectors opening up for your kind of strategies. Now, the next question that I ask you is going to be very, very important from a public equities investor point of view. Okay, how much of these special situation kind of strategies do you see coming to the listed space? Okay, the reason that I asked this because I was doing my homework, I was googling, I was searching on Google a bit. Okay, maximum of the special situation kind of funds are probably in the private credit space or private equity space. So, in the coming days, how much do you see, a market opportunity in the listed space for these kind of situations, like special situations, maybe like ARC kind of situations, asset reconstruction kind of situations, or Bhushan Steel kind of situations that actually come to the listed space for investors?
See, two things. Worldwide, these markets comprise maybe 1/3 of the overall market. India is still at a very nascent stage, but we feel this industry, this segment of investing is going to catch up in the future. You mentioned Bhushan Steel and the likes of Bhushan Steel. We feel the bankruptcy code is more or less very close to the US system of bankruptcy.
Right.
Bankruptcy happen across various economic cycles. It happens across industries and it happens across the world. So far, we never had such a concrete way of handling this. Now, since the time we have got over this bankruptcy code, Bhushan Steel has been resolved. Lot of corporate, even the Yes Bank, if you see the swift action by the government, there was an equity stake by. So these CG Power, there are a lot of opportunities that will get opened up by resolution of these NCLT cases. In some of the cases, the equity will get wiped out. So we have to be very careful which part of these opportunities we are invested in. In couple of cases, the whole equity has been wiped out. And that's what corporate finance theory says. 401, what does it say? The debt in the capital structure stacking, debt is ahead of equity. A lot of investors take a bet on the equity, ignoring that first, if the debt investors are taking a haircut, how can the equity make money? So you have to be very, very careful. The credit market, lastly, the credit markets in India have not developed so far. I think that is still very illiquid market. And the companies, or there are not enough investors who are in a position to invest across the capital structure of the firm, across preferential, across superior debt, senior debt. Once that market opens, but I don't see in the next 5 years, once that market opens, we will see a lot of credit-related special situation opportunities also.
So there's still some time for...
The credit-related, yes. Bankruptcy, yes, you have to be very, very careful because, corporate finance, simple law says, equity ko to wipe out hona hai, agar debt wala agar 50% haircut le raha hai, this cannot continue. So equity kahan se trade hoga? Aur yahan par equity trade karta hai. Or circuit lagte hain. So that what defies logic. That's why I said these situations are misunderstood and unfollowed.
Right. So you are confident that these situations will keep coming in the listed space?
Oh, yes. Yes. We will see a lot of activity, M&A activities, spin-offs, demergers going forward.
Right. So with the last question, I'm going to end this. So Arunji, every morning that I pick up my newspaper or I watch my CNBC or of the world, there I cannot let you go without asking you this question. The most talked about special situation is PSU divestment. You know, I mean, I put a special situation tag to it. The reason is because I can't comprehend it in any other way. Like MTNL suddenly wants to sell its land bank. NTPC wants to somewhere monetize. Railways want to monetize a lot of their properties, and we have seen so many railway sub units being listed, and IRCTC though has been a wonder. So, what do you make of that kind of a situation, and do you think that's a special situation in play? Because I remember during the 2008 bull run, prior to that, these PSU companies and PSBs were like the most sought after. And what do you make of it before we let you go?
See, I would say we have not invested so far in the PSU domain so far with this perspective. Primarily because this is a very positive intention by the government. However, we have invested in situations where there is a concrete plan defined by the government leading to disinvestment of 2 PSUs. So if there is a concrete disinvestment plan envisaged by the government, which they have laid out for 2 companies, one in the logistics space and one other in the petroleum refinery.
Right.
Where that is a special situation for us. As I said, the corporate event has been announced. In the case of banking space, the mergers of couple of PSU banks, we don't know the ratio where it will get favored. That's one. The action has not been announced because we don't know which banks will get merged. As we just buy on the intention, that's a fundamental call. That's a speculative call according to us at Capgrow. So the Buffetology part will not work, and even not the corporate action will also not be there because it's not defined. But as I said, we have invested in 2 PSUs where there is a concrete, clearly defined roadmap for disinvestment.
Right. So today's the biggest learning from this call that I got from you, Mr. Arun, is that you would want to invest in a situation or an event where the only risk that remains is that chronology risk.
Yes.
You don't want to subscribe to any other risk but chronology risk. The event has to be laid out. Yes. The path has to be shown by the management body. Right. That's a very interesting take, and I think very few fund managers are managing money in this space in India. Globally, I'm not very aware. That's a very interesting take, and I really like what you said about PSU. A lot of PSU divestment is just in the air. कि हम ये कर सकते हैं, ये करेंगे. Like if I talk about the biggest IPO that is LIC that is going to be, so probably I take your point there. So it's a very, very interesting take. And in closing comments, if you would want to share anything with the investors that are there on the call, because I have seen the investors very patiently. We have 2 outages that have happened when internet got the better of us, but they have been patiently listening because it's such a differentiated strategy. And if there's any closing comment that you want to make to the investors, the floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, sure. I think one is my apologies for the outage, and thanks everybody for patiently listening to me. It was wonderful to have you all listen so patiently. It was our pleasure, and want to reiterate that that this special situation strategy is a long time-tested strategy that has given returns to investors. If there are any other questions, anything related to what special situation is, sustainable, not, we would be more than happy to connect. And thank you. That's it.
So let us just run a poll of how many people will now subscribe to the special situation strategy, and then we will close for today. So the
poll, am I allowed to vote?
The poll is live, ladies and gentlemen. Please let us know if you like the special situation strategy and would you want to invest. So as of now, I see 75% people. Okay. So mota moti 70% people on the call really liked your strategy and they say they would want to invest. With that, today we will wind up today's call. Thank you, Arunji, for being with us. Thank you to all the audience for being with us and discussing this a very interesting strategy. I am leaving my email ID on the call, so if anybody has any further doubts, you can write to us, and we will surely get back to you. So thank you everybody for being on the call.
Thank you each and everybody for sparing your time. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. You too, sir.
Bye.